Hey, how's it going, people? Panda here, and I'm back with another Monday Night Raw, whatever this video series is going to be called, where I basically go over what happened on the previous episode of Monday Night Raw, and just give some opinions on some of the things that happened, the more important things or interesting things. This one is for Raw, May 27th, 2013, and the show starts off with the return of the champ, John Cena. If you don't know, he missed last week's Raw to kind of play with an injury point of view kind of thing, where he got speared more or less through the stage at Extreme Rules by Ryback. Although he did come back pretty healthy for that to have happened. Just kind of a little thing I noticed. But basically, he comes out to respond to Ryback's challenge for an ambulance match at Payback. But he, instead of accepting it, saying I'll take on any challenge or whatever, he counter challenges him with a 3 Stages of Hell match, which I never heard the name of exactly, but after looking into the previous matches, I kind of recognized them, although I would not have been able to tell you that's what they were back then. There's been 3 previous ones. In 2001, No Way Out, Stone Cold vs. Triple H. Its order went normal, or a standard match, hardcore match, and a cage match. In 2002, Armageddon, HBK versus Triple H. It went hardcore, cage, ladder. And then the last one, which I was surprised at how recent it actually was 2009 American Bash, Randy Orton versus Triple H. Normal match, hardcore, and stretcher match. That was back when Orton was doing the Legacy thing, and it ended up being how he won with the stretcher matches with the help of Legacy. But the proposed 3 Stages of Hell that Cena gave were a lumberjack match, and to quote him, were to keep Ryback from running away. A tables match, which seems just a little odd in this 3, but I guess I'm more willing to accept a objective based hardcore match. I mean, it's still going to be basically Extreme Rules, but instead of a pin, it's just put them through the table. So I guess it kind of followed suit with the rest of the matches, where it's basically a hardcore Extreme Rules match. And then to finish it, it is the ambulance match. Cena kind of, I guess you could say, dropped the ball on a really good line he could have done, where he said, and at the end of the night, I'm going to pick up Ryback's big ass and throw him in the back of the ambulance to go straight to get medical attention. Just thought that would have been a way better line, even though no, Cena's not necessarily supposed to cuss much unless he's, I guess, doing a throwback to the Doctor of Thugonomics, where he could have went and send you straight to hell. But after he gets through with that, Ryback comes out and says that's a much better match. I know that was a stupid voice for that. I don't know really why I did it, and then he didn't actually smack his head, but that's still funny to me. Then he went into a really weird short promo where he was like, say hello to Lucifer, say hello to blah blah blah, just different names for Satan or the devil or whatever. It was definitely a big downgrade from last week's promo that he cut on top of the ambulance. But after he leaves, Heyman and not Chris, Curtis Axel comes out, and it sounded like Axel had a newer theme than he did last week. It was a lot more, I guess you could say, personal. It wasn't as much, I guess you could say, parody off of his father, Mr. Perfect's theme. That it still had that beat that his always had, but it wasn't it wasn't based off of it, I guess you could say. If that made any sense, I don't really know. With that, you could definitely tell that he needs to work on his mic skills, which I guess is expected for a relatively new guy, even though he's been around before. And it definitely helps that they paired him up with Paul Heyman, probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest guy on the mic for a manager anyway. But he challenges Cena to a match later in the night. Of course, Cena accepts. Next segment or whatever, Alberto Del Rio versus Big E Langston again. Although I think this is really, well, not overall, but they fought last week on Raw and Big E won. This time Del Rio won due to AJ Lee exposing a turnbuckle. Again, it kind of put a slight smile on my face to see a turnbuckle removed, because that used to happen all the time, and now it's almost never. But because AJ uncovered it, and then Big E ended up going quote-unquote face first, they had a straight on camera angle for it, and it was his chest, so he probably didn't even feel it, to be honest. But that created or maybe even increased the tension between Big E and AJ. So, be interesting to see where they go with that for when Big E splits from Dolph Ziggler and AJ. Next was Kofi Kingston versus Dean Ambrose. It was the U.S. Championship rematch, because Kofi got his contracted rematch for the title on the previous SmackDown, but due to Shield interference, he got another one tonight or on Raw. Of course, Ambrose won. He leg sweep or whatever Kofi off of the apron, and he hit his hit his head on the steel steps, which with Kofi, it's always a really good sell, so it was really really believable. And then he hit his whatever kind of finish it is. It's a weird kind of slam thing, much like you should say kind of a variation off of like the skull crushing finale. It's kind of a weird faceplant thing. And then they quickly transitioned it straight to Team Hell No versus Reigns and Rollins for the tag team title rematch. And after reading something earlier, I kind of have a theory why they did it so early, other than to just get that out of the way and to start the Kane and Daniel Bryan feud. It was actually, of course, a really good match between all of them, and then Daniel Bryan started getting angry and just taking out focusing on Reigns, who was not the legal man, and Kane was yelling at him, so that they really created tension, even though, well, they created tension for Kane against Daniel Bryan earlier in the night when Bret Hart, I guess, gave Daniel Bryan a vote of confidence, but Kane was like, when I say it, you don't believe me when he says it. You're just Kane. I know I'm doing just these stupid random voices, which I always speak like that. It's just they're kind of not relevant now, because usually that's like a mocking voice that I do. But anyway, Rollins hit his like springboard knee finisher thing again. I don't really like any of the Shield's finishers that they have at this point. But like I said, of course, Reigns and Rollins wins. Next segment or match, whatever, Wade Barrett versus Fandango. This was the WWE app vote, whatever it was, but it was to see what the Miz's I don't even know the word his purpose in the match would be. It was between a special guest announcer, special guest commentator, and special guest referee. 5 points to anyone who guesses this correct, which should be everyone that sees this video. He, of course, was the special guest. Just on a side note, it kind of disappoints me that he's been a special guest a couple times before, but that they never have like a special made shirt for him with the WWE logos turned upside down. I mean, he does that on, you know, merchandise and all this other stuff whenever he's holding a mic upside down. Just get a shirt made. It will just help. Barrett, much like Axel, had a re-updated theme. Previously, it was just a new kind of rock theme, but had his sound bites of him going boom in it. Unless I just missed it last week, which I don't think I did. This one started out with little kids singing, or at least just saying the line, "God Save Our Queen," since he is British. He had a lot better timing this week than he did last week with, timing up. Like when he throws the jacket off of his back, and then in the ring when he smacks his elbow and yells "boom" to the theme. I didn't mean to say thing the first time, but whatever. So Barrett's definitely getting better with that, and it's actually really helping his character, I think, to have a custom theme or entrance music. Well, theme works too. Anyway, obviously, Miz begins cutting it down the middle until Barrett, shoves him or something, and then Miz hits skull crushing finale. Fandango covers and wins, so they're actually just going towards what I'm guessing is going to be a triple threat match for the Intercontinental title. There's a reason that it won't be a fatal 4-way with Chris Jericho, but I'll get to that in a minute. After the match, Summer Rae and Fandango, of course, were dancing in the ring, and like when Fandango kind of bent over, Miz super kicked him, and Summer Rae fell beside or in front of him, and then flopped back onto him. It was just kind of a mess up with her, but again, not a huge deal, I guess. And then Miz counts 1, 2, 3. So I guess technically Summer Rae now has a victory over Fandango. I usually don't talk much about the backstage promo things, but Shawn Michaels was in the back talking to John Cena about the 3 stages of hell match, and when they showed him, he actually got cheered in Montreal, Canada, which was really surprising. Like, even though they apparently buried the hatchet for the Montreal screw job, it was just an odd thing. And then and I'm not the only one who feels this way. There are people on Twitter who were who were kind of surprised by it for obvious reasons. And then here's where the show, I guess you could really say went downhill, but it was like they gave the controls to a monkey with a keyboard or something. It was the Great Khali and Tons of Funk. First off, that is a shit ton of man for one tag team. Versus 3MB. Yeah, I'm going to kind of reference them here in a minute as well. Obviously, Khali and Tons of Funk won. And then after the match, which is probably the best part. This might be in the best part of the match or the night. It was Natalia's birthday as well as Bret Hart Appreciation Night. And the Great Khali sung Happy Birthday to Natalya. And that was funny as crap because you know how bad his English is. Although it wasn't as bad in the Long Shard remake. Next segment was the highlight reel, obviously with Chris Jericho, and then he had Paul Heyman on as a guest. But Jericho refused to bring up Chris Axel. Heyman tried to talk about him some, but Jericho just didn't care. He wanted to talk about Punk and where he was, and obviously Heyman would play down, it's not my job to, or what the best in the world does is on his own. He held the championship for 400 whatever days. But basically, it was Chris Jericho calling out Punk if he doesn't deserve the best in the world title if he's sitting at home, even though he was at a Dodgers baseball game that I saw after that segment. He posted a picture on Twitter. And then Chris Jericho was, trying to get out that other one of his many, I guess you could say, catchphrases or lines, whatever. I'm the best in the world at what I do, and Heyman kept trying to cut him off. So it looks like they may be trying to bring back slightly the best in the world versus best in the world thing, like they did several years ago at WrestleMania, I believe. And then Jericho openly challenges Punk to a match at Payback in Chicago, which is Punk's hometown, and Heyman accepts it just because of how, well, it's a normal thing where they were getting Heyman fired up enough that he would accept it. I'm not sure exactly which segment this came in between or before, so I'll just get into it now. They ran another ad for an upcoming tag team. When I looked into it on Wrestling Inc., it's the Wyatt Family. It was guys that I never really heard of. One of them used to be Husky Harris, the guy who is the leader of the group, and then I can't remember if it's the other two or Harris and one of the others who are the current NXT Tag Team Champions, which is cool that they're trying to build the tag team division back a little bit. I don't know if I like them including another 3-man faction, just because we have 3MB, even though they're just kind of there. And then we have, obviously, the Shield. I would much rather see two-man teams come in that are focused on the title instead of dominating the company. And then just on a personal thing, I don't really like what they're trying to do, because it's kind of like they're attempting to create a backwoods redneck. I don't even know. The promo was just them out in the woods, saying kind of random things. We're taking over the world, or whatever like that, and singing parts of Mary Had a Little Lamb. I mean, I wasn't huge with Fandangos commercials at first, just because it was weird, and then he ended up being a really good character. I really don't like these just from a personal thing, because I am from the South, and I don't want this to look bad on us if they come out just completely stupid and retarded and everything like that. But I guess we'll see what they're gonna do. The next, real quick, if you thought the previous match was gonna be the worst, you're dead wrong. Divas Tag Team match. No freaking point other than just to fill time, and I guess to get Natalya in a match in Montreal. But it was her and Caitlyn versus the Bellas. It was a stupid match. Caitlyn accidentally speared Natalya, and the Bellas covered for the win, and they sung "Happy Birthday, Loser," and it was a big waste of time, mostly because it's not going to lead to anything unless they might, as a big might, give Natalya a chance for the title because Caitlyn speared her, but because they're so close of friends, it's not going to happen. She's going to understand that it was an accident and blah blah blah, and nothing's going to happen with the Divas division because I don't even know. It's basically just a waste now. I think AJ Lee still has a title match due to her, but who knows when that's going to come around. That may be a couple months. I think they did that before. Next one, another kind of possibly pointless tag team match. Randy Orton and Sheamus. It was King or Cole called it the Celtic Viper, which was interesting. And I can't remember if it's Ireland or Scotland that doesn't have snakes. So it could possibly be impossible for that team name. Versus Road Scholar. Again, where the hell did this come out of? Just have them individual for weeks and then throw them back together. But of course, Orton and Sheamus won. I missed part of the match, which kind of just showed how important it was. Not that I wasn't really interested in the match. I kind of was. The only possible ray of light I have for that is that they could have Orton and Sheamus actually team up and go for the titles against the Shield, just to continue that whole Shield versus WWE thing. And I don't think it would be bad to have them as the tag champions, and of course it would be good to have the main eventers who are not involved in a major title picture as a mid-card champion like they used to do. Then the main event, as I said before, was Cena versus Curtis Axel. Axel won via countout because an ambulance drove out to the side of the entrance like the week before, and of course Cena ran to, as you can say, cut off Ryback, but he ended up coming like from the backstage area and taking out Cena. Well, not really taking him out, but like hitting him, and then Cena, I think, jumped up to the stage, and Ryback tried to spear him through the stage again, but he or no, he like tried to meat hook clothesline him through the stage or something. I don't know. But Cena ducked out of the way, tried to AA him, and Ryback fell off or jumped off his shoulders and went to the back. Then Curtis Axel won via countout. So they're really building him up high. I don't really know how I feel about that either, just because with the other major Paul Heyman guys, they kind of built their own thing. Seemed like, and then with Curtis Axel, they're pushing him with Heyman, if that makes sense. But that's just kind of the less than quick rundown for Raw May 27th. If you enjoyed, please leave a like rating. If there's anything that I may have missed or that you would like a comment back on, like just any kind of opinion or something, leave that down in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.